because I've been doing this for so long, I've worked with almost every industry. The only industry I don't do a lot of work for are doctors and teachers, and they just don't need my work. The teachers have to use their own systems and such. So almost every industry, I've worked with CMOs, CFOs, and operational people and everything in between. My target market, my perfect client, is an executive or corporate leader who wants to take their resume and their marketing tools for career to the next level.
Welcome to Career Coaching Secrets, the podcast where we talk with successful career coaches on how they built their success and the hard lessons they learned along the way. My name is Davis Nguyen, and I'm the founder of Purple Circle, where we help career coaches scale their business to $100,000 years, $100,000 months, and even $100,000 weeks. Before Purple Circle, I've grown several 7- and 8-figure career coaching businesses myself, and have been a consultant at 2 career coaching businesses that are doing over $100 million each. Whether you're an established coach or building your practice for the first time, you'll discover the secrets to elevating your coaching business.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Career Coaching Secrets podcast. I'm your host, Rajan, and today's guest is Lisa Carman, an executive resume writer, career coach, and LinkedIn branding expert who helps job seekers turn experience into interviews and interviews into offers. As the founder of Resonating Resumes, Lisa blends 20 plus years in corporate America with 15 plus years crafting keyword-rich resumes and LinkedIn profiles. And it's a pleasure for me to have her on the podcast today. Welcome to the show, Lisa.
Thank you so much, Rejim. I'm really excited to be here. And I'm actually known as the resume guru. And that is because it was many years ago, but I had 3 completely unrelated clients in 1 month call me a resume guru. And I just said, okay, I'm going to embrace it. That's my title from here on out. It just kind of happened that way.
So resume guru is kind of like the title that you've taken over time, kind of like for what you're doing. So resume is kind of the main focus, and then there's also some coaching, career coaching in it as well.
Yes, it all started with the resume work. I never intended to be a career coach. So just kind of happened by a happy accident. I think truly it was a destiny thing for me. And the resume writing led me to the coaching. And I was automatically doing that anyway with the people I was working with on their resumes. So it's been a very natural evolution for me, one that I did not expect.
And so right now, I know, and even looking at your LinkedIn profile as well, that with Resonating Resumes, it's been closer to 30 years that you've been running this business. I wanted to ask you, at the beginning of it, what inspired you to start this? I know initially it was just resumes, but what inspired you to become a resume writer and then later on career?
You know, I think I was inspired because I'm someone who needed coaching so badly earlier in my life and didn't get it. Back when I was growing up, when I was in my 20s, and this was a while back, I'm dating myself for sure, but you didn't hear about coaches. There was nobody to help a woman in business or anyone else starting a business. And I didn't know what I wanted to be. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I grew up in a family that was middle class, but really never had extra money. So they never talked about college. They talked about you start working in high school and then you keep working. So I knew if I was going to go to college, it was up to me after I had a full-time role. Not knowing what I wanted to do, even though I went to my career counselor in high school, the things that they said I would be good at just didn't feel right to me. And I was born a feminist, and I, darn it, wanted to do a job that any man could do, to show I could do it. So not knowing where I wanted to go, but knowing I wanted a challenge, I decided to start working at a utility company, big organization, and start in the mailroom. And from the mailroom, I went to the accounting department, and I learned that numbers are not my thing. Then I went to the auditing department, kind of the same thing, not my thing. Then I went to computer programming, because darn it, men were usually in computer programming, and I was going to do what a man could do, right? And my brain just does not work that way. And then I tried circuit board stuff. I tried electricity, and nothing along that line spoke to me. So I ended up in this large corporation for over 17 years trying to find my niche. I needed career coaching so bad, but they didn't offer that. And I didn't know anyone who did it. So I just tried job after job and finally found something that spoke to me and that used my gifts. And that was training curriculum development work and training delivery. And I found I was really good at that. It was just one of my gifts. So that sufficed for several years in this big organization. I thought to be successful, I had to become a VP of human resources and training. And honestly, the whole time I was in that company, I felt like I was beating my head against the wall. It wasn't my environment. I didn't fit there. I never felt like I fit there. And along the way, I ran into some women who were very kind and helpful to me. And they were executive women and they were executive coaches, and they had a whole bunch of clients that were executive coaches. And they found out that I like to write resumes. I have always written resumes because I'm a writer. I've always enjoyed it. I help my neighbors. I help my family and friends. I mean, I've always written resumes because it was fun and challenging. So these executive women started sending me their friends, other executives, and I started writing their resumes and found, this is pretty fun, but it would never be a job. It could never be a real career or anything like that. And all of a sudden, it just happened that I was running a consulting business at that point, and I didn't have time to do the consulting work because I was getting so many resume clients, all word of mouth. And I kind of started backwards. Instead of starting with like grad school, college graduates, I started with executives. So I started in the beginning writing these high-level resumes for these amazing, accomplished individuals who really didn't know how to own their own value. And that was the most exciting part for me, was helping a client come to that realization of what they're really worth to an organization. It was very exciting for me. So that's kind of how it started for me. And we're talking 25 years ago, 30 years ago at this point.
Yeah. And right now, when thinking about the clients that you're working with, we have in our podcast two audiences. One audience is coaches and one audience is borrowed audience from all of the coaches that we've had in this show before you, because they've shared the podcast episode with their LinkedIn profiles, with their email lists. So we might be reaching out to an audience you could be working with, but how would you describe your ideal client profile? Is there a certain industry, demographic, psychographic? How would you describe it?
Because I've been doing this for so long, I've worked with almost every industry. The only industry I don't do a lot of work for are doctors and teachers, and they just don't need my work. The teachers have to use their own systems and such. So almost every industry, I've worked with CMOs, CFOs, and operational people and everything in between. My target market, my perfect client, is an executive or corporate leader who wants to take their resume and their marketing tools for career to the next level. That's my perfect client. They may not know how to do that because it's really hard to work on your own material. It is not easy. So that's what I do. I'm the objective party who sits down for a full hour with each client and just asks a lot of questions. And I'm a great listener. I think that's part of how I came into the coaching piece, is I'm just so good at listening and capturing the key elements of what the client is saying, whether they know what that they're giving me great content or not. I can always insightfully gain what I need just talking with the client. And I love the one-on-one connection with people. That's my favorite part.
So how is it like to work with you? What's the typical engagement one client would have with you?
So every engagement, well, first I do a free consultation session, just a free discovery session with each client. And we just have a conversation like you and I are. And I want to make sure I'm the right fit for them. I have other resume writers that I can refer to and coaches and such. So I want to make sure I'm right for them, because it's a karma thing for me. If I'm not the right person, then I'll help them find the right person. So we just have this informal discussion, like right now, 15, 20, 30 minutes maybe, all free. And I kind of help them figure out strategy-wise what's their next steps. And they decide if they want to work with me from here and if I'm the right fit for them. I give them my price sheet. I offer a la carte options like just career coaching or just resume writing or LinkedIn profile writing or a cover letter or an executive bio. Or I offer bundling options that give them discounts for bundling and paying in advance. So it's to their benefit to bundle and pay in advance just to get the discounts because they're pretty hefty. And I just like to provide that to people because it is an investment in themselves. And it's not something they should take lightly. And I expect them to be serious about this because I'm serious about it. And I'm there to help them make progress. So once we have that 30-minute call, 15 to 30, then if they decide to work with me, which I got to say happens a lot, I'm pretty popular, which is a great thing. I'm very, very grateful for that. Then we have a 1-hour conversation to kickstart their project. And in that conversation, I just have tons of questions. And each of their answers will lead me to the next question. So it's very customized, very organic, based on each client because everyone is so unique and individual. Then after that 1-hour call, I will assign them homework. And I always tell people, you need to be okay with that. And I need you to do your homework. It could be as simple as get me a job description of interest so I can capture the right keywords in the resume and in LinkedIn. And as we're talking about interviewing and what you need to be covering in that way, I kind of lump everything together and help them with everything while I'm working with them on career coaching or resume writing. And usually I turn around the first draft of the resume or the LinkedIn profile within a week of that 1-hour call, if not sooner. It depends on my workload at the time because it's just me. And that's what I want. And then I want their critical feedback on the first draft. And then I come up with version 2. And most resume writers, they'll do 1 or 2 versions, they're done. I double that and at times have gone even further, maybe to 5 or 6 versions to get it right, because that's what matters to me. This resume and my coaching with them needs to result in interviews. And if it's not, I need to revisit that and we need to fix something. So I want their feedback. I come up with the next draft and we go back and forth until it's right. And then once we both agree that the resume is the best it can be, then I produce 3 different file types, including a PDF for that resume document. And then I lead them through my tried and true process for how to quickly tailor a resume to keywords on a job description. So many people have trouble with that. And it's absolutely crucial to do that for every job application you send out. So I make sure people know how to do it and know how to do it in a quick fashion. And I'll even design resumes so that it makes it easier on the client to do that keyword tailoring on their own. Now, after the resume, usually I'm writing also the cover letter, and then I'm writing the LinkedIn profile. And with the LinkedIn profile, I do a lot for what they're paying for, which includes a Word document with tons of content, like 8 to 15 pages long, depending on how much history they have. And I take what I've worked on in the resume and I make it a compelling read for LinkedIn. The point of LinkedIn is you want visibility. And visibility means first you got to have a profile that is interesting to read and people want to look at, and then you got to work it. So not only do I write all the content and we go through versions just like we did with the resume, I also handle the upload support for that new LinkedIn profile. And then I give the client a 1-hour or more LinkedIn training session on how to leverage LinkedIn and get found for the right opportunities. And that is something I don't hear anyone else doing. I only started doing it because I found that my executive and leader clients, once we had the LinkedIn profile done, they never got around to figuring out how to use it or how to upload everything. So I just take care of it. And then they're ready to roll. They know exactly what to do to increase their visibility and start getting found for the right opportunities. And in the middle of all this, I'm coaching them. I mean, sometimes I'm working with someone who says, I don't even know what my resume needs to look like. And then we start the conversation of, okay, so what do you like to do? What have you done in the past? What's been your favorite work? What do you think you would do in a perfect world if you could do anything you wanted? So that's where the career coaching comes in, just by nature of what I do with the resume and LinkedIn work. Usually takes a week to 2 weeks to do the resume and LinkedIn in full.
Cool. And if they wanted to, I believe most people will typically want all of these to have the resume, cover letter, LinkedIn profile all together, because it wouldn't make sense to just have only the resume. And I believe for the cover letter as well, there's a way where you could just like update it for every job application too, right?
Yes. In fact, I hate to say this, but it's true. Cover letters are more important than they used to be now. And you'll talk to recruiters who say they don't read the cover letters. And they're right. They probably don't need to. But if a hiring authority requests one in the job posting, you got to write it. And you want to stand apart from the crowd. So I will design and write a cover letter that matches whatever design we settle on for the resume. So it looks like it's on professional letterhead. And there will be specific spots in the cover letter where that client amends or adjusts based on the company and job they're going for. And I make it very clear that they need to make themselves relevant to the company in their cover letter, not just the resume. So I come up with unique ways to open the cover letter to make them look and go, oh, that's a different way of opening and getting my attention. And I use key accomplishments in the cover letter, and they will replace the accomplishments with the right ones that are relevant to that company and that job that they're applying to. So I really make it simple, simple, simple. I have clients all the time say, oh my gosh, why have I spent hours and hours writing cover letters when all it takes me is 15 minutes now with what you've done for me? Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's one of the next things that I usually do is the cover letter.
Beautiful. And one question I wanted to ask you, and just like to shift away from this topic, is this is a question that mostly coaches who are listening are going to find interesting. When it comes to marketing or people finding you or you finding them, have you seen any marketing channel working out better than the others for you? Or is there a mixture of channels?
Absolutely. There's a mix, and some are better than others for sure. For me, from the beginning, it's been word of mouth. And I think part of that is my personality and how I'm able to connect with people quickly. I love it. I just really enjoy meeting new people. And I think that comes across. But LinkedIn is my marketing place. I love LinkedIn. I live on it every day practically. And I have been for many years. And I get so many cold reach outs through LinkedIn, and I get lots of warm reach outs based on what I'm posting, based on the people that I know who refer people to me through LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is really my target for marketing. Now, I also market on Instagram. I do not get nearly as many clients on Instagram, but I do get clients. So it's still worthwhile. I also have marketed on Facebook. Occasionally, I'll get clients on Facebook, but it's really not it's not my marketing tool. It just doesn't and I'm looking for corporate leaders. So they may be on Facebook for personal reasons or not. So I think LinkedIn is the magic one for me for marketing.
Almost all of the coaches that I've interviewed, LinkedIn is the primary channel. And then there's also their referral network, which also plays a big part of it, similar in your case as well. Now, looking to the future for the next 1 to 3 years for resonating resumes, do you have any specific business goals that you're working towards?
Absolutely. Goals are so important. I had no goals for so many years. Then I got myself a coach and understood how important they were. So yes, in the next 3 years, my plan is to completely automate my reach outs. I've actually been doing the research and working on a social media calendar that I'll be using for LinkedIn alone. And I'm building content for that. And that's an effort too. I mean, after writing all day long resumes and LinkedIn profiles, the last thing I want to do is write articles, but I'm working on it. I've put it on the back burner for so long. At this point in my business, which I've been running for over 20 years, it's about time I automated the things I can automate. So that's my biggest challenge the next 3 years out. And I do have goals set around it, and I'm working towards it. And I do have help now. I'm hiring the right. So that makes a big difference too.
Cool. And automating, basically optimizing your operations, getting some of that admin work out of your plate. What would you say are kind of like the main challenges that you're facing right now with your coaching business? Where would you say is your bottleneck? Or is it
Automating?
It
For
goes back to
sure.
automating?
It's going to be the posting on a regular basis, because with LinkedIn and probably with Facebook and other platforms, the key is consistency. And I have not been as consistent as I want to be, only because I've been so busy, which is such a blessing. But at the same time, it's only me doing this. So I think automating the stuff that I waste time on, like the follow-ups with clients, I need to automate that. That's such a simple thing. And I need to just get the right system and handle it. Another thing that I am working on is I'm getting a bookkeeping service who's going to start handling all of my invoicing and billing and things like that, and receipts and such. All these years, I've done that on my own because I could, but it's also held me back in being able to do more productive work in terms of marketing and getting that social media calendar in order sooner. So I'm not beating myself up that it's taken me this long, but I am working on it.
Yeah.
And I know this is the right timing for me. At one time, for many, many years, I always had 15 to 20 client projects going at any given time. And that was too much. Things fell through the cracks. I couldn't keep up. The billing suffered. Just getting money pulled in suffered because I was so busy with my client base. So now I keep it to a more reasonable level. And that's allowing me the time I need to start the automation process.
And you're thinking about this at the right moment as well, because now automation has gotten so much better. You can do so much more with it. Not just automation, but basically there's like automations with AI now where you could just also do the reasoning and just goes deeper and deeper into that.
And let's talk AI. I mean, I was AI resistant. I admit it. I thought, no machine's going to write a resume like I can write a resume. My ego was totally in the way. And then I started dipping my toe in the water of Claude and ChatGPT and several others. And I have to tell you, I'm sold on ChatGPT. It's fun. I don't write a resume using ChatGPT. I write it in my own way with my own flair and with my own tone based on who the client is. And then I use ChatGPT to make it better. I say, give me a more interesting opening for this profile paragraph. And then I look at options and consider, okay, what pieces might work for this particular person. So I'm a big advocate of ChatGPT now, and I'm much more efficient thanks to ChatGPT, because I got to tell you, I don't know if you've ever written something like a resume, but I could keep editing it until the cows come home. I could just keep going, keep it, and never be done.
Yeah.
So ChatGPT has helped me finalize and become more efficient in that way. I also am doing a lot of presentations, and I'm happy to do that for anyone listening for their group on how to leverage AI in job search and get those interviews and those job offers. So I'm looking for opportunities for more presentations in that way. But yeah, so I'm looking at all the AI tools for my automation needs for sure.
And so ChatGPT, and just like to get just a little deeper into this, you also mentioned Claude, and I have opinions on this. I think Claude does write in a more human way than ChatGPT, but that could just be me, or maybe just like the way that I've trained Claude, it just happens to be better for me. Have you noticed any difference for you? Or
initially, when I first tried Claude, I didn't like it, but it's improved greatly over the last, year and a half even. So I think it is much better. And yes, it learns who you are and what your style is. And that's probably why I like ChatGPT so much, because I've used it more. So it understands me more. I also, as I said earlier, I started dipping my toes in the AI waters. I encourage everyone to just jump in with both feet. Don't be afraid to be very specific in the prompt. Tell it exactly what you want and give it as much information as you can. So yeah, I understand what you're saying about Claude. I used it again recently just to play with it again last week. And I was really surprised at how much better it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe I'll end up going to that. It is, they're launching new stuff all the time. It's very exciting.
Yeah, it's moving so fast as an industry. If you stay in ChatGPT, there's like all these updates that ChatGPT alone gets, but then all of these other AI platforms are also getting updated. So it's kind of hard to keep up with all. But just like
It is.
fun and focus on that, because the quality is going to be similar for most of them, as long as you give like a very detailed prompt, just like you mentioned. That
Right.
matters a lot.
Yeah, I've had people say, I don't even know where to start with writing a resume. And when I'm doing the AI presentation, leveraging AI in job search, I say, start with your job description. Say, here's the job description of what I did last, of what I've been doing in my most recent job. Copy and paste all of that in. Give ChatGPT information about who you are and how you lead, what your strengths are, what your achievements have been. Give it everything you possibly can, and then ask it to write the resume. So the more you give, the more quality you get back. But you can never just take what it spits out. You have to make it your own, for sure.
My next question is more about investments, and this goes back to that research that we're going to do around this.
Mhm.
Over the years, and you can think about the recent years or even earlier on, whatever makes more sense. But in terms of investments, what have been some investments that you feel good about? And what have been some investments that you don't feel so good about? To explain this a little bit further, these could be investments of time, money, or both. When we say investments that you feel good about, you either got a good return from them or you learned a lot from them. And bad investments, basically things you wish you had avoided.
Okay. So first off, I got to say, I made big mistakes not in making investments early on in my business. I struggled so much with marketing my business when it was still so new and I was still trying to create my process. And I wasted so much time trying to be a marketer, and I'm not a marketer, right? And if only I had invested in a social media manager then, I can't even imagine what this business would be like now. So that was my first mistake, not hiring someone to do what I don't do well for my business. And that
Hmm.
is the main piece. Now I do. That's the best investment I've made is in the last 6 years. I pay someone to do my social media on Instagram and on Facebook and the other platforms I don't want anything to do with because I'm happy on LinkedIn and I can manage that. So that's been my best investment was finding the right social media manager and paying that person to do it. And my worst investment was not investing in my business and hiring someone in the first place. Another thing I regret has to do with the time I wasted trying to build a website when I'm not a website builder. I wasted so many hours and days and months struggling and trying to do this on my own when I should have just hired someone, which is what I finally did. So that was another really great investment. So yeah, I mean, it was lessons learned along the way, but I think at this point, I know I just need to rely on the other people who are the experts in the things I'm not, and also automate, automate, automate.
Yeah. And that's such a big lesson, right? Because at the beginning, maybe there's not a lot of revenue to go on to be able to invest in a team member or like hiring or outsourcing. But later on, it makes a lot of sense to free up your time from the things that you're not good at or even don't enjoy doing and have those outsourced because it just like gives you back that energy and time to focus on something you want to do.
You're right. You're right. And I think that just reaching out for help was hard for me. I thought if I'm a business owner, I got to do this on my own. This is just me, right? It's not. There's a community around you who can help. Mm, I think I should have, looking back, hindsight's always 2020. I should have hired someone to do my marketing on everything from the very beginning. And the business would have built so much faster. I don't know that it would be much different than it is today because I made the conscious decision years ago that I didn't want to expand and scale. I tried. I did give that a shot. I hired a couple of resume writers and started paying them to write resumes. And I wanted them to write them to connect with the clients in a similar fashion that I do and to really care about what they're writing and to produce something unique for each person. And they just couldn't do it. And I let that go on for too long. And after that experience, I was so frustrated. I made the decision. I don't want to scale. I'm going to
Mhm.
stay where I'm at because I love what I do. I enjoy it every day. I love meeting my new clients and discovering their best.
Mhm.
And it's good enough for me until I retire.
Yeah. Cool. Amazing. Yeah, and for many coaches, that is a decision that you got to make because um, at the point that you scale is not gonna feel the same as it feels when you're actually working and doing the coaching yourself. Usually I'd like to always take the example of the baker who had a dream of having his own bakery. Once he becomes the owner of the bakery, he's not actually doing bread anymore. He's just running the business and it just has a different feel to it. So scaling basically is different. And if you enjoy what you're doing, you're happy with the income, it's all good to stay where you are. It's just
That's
everybody's
right.
obsessed with scaling nowadays.
Well, I also learned in my time in corporate, that 17 to 18 years in corporate, I didn't want to manage people. It just wasn't my thing. I wanted to trust people to do their jobs and get it done. And being a leader, being a manager takes a lot more than that. There's people are so unique. You have to be able to come in at all levels to help people and to mentor and coach. And after that experience with the writers I did hire, I just decided I was right. I don't want to manage others. And I don't want to not be working with clients one-on-one, which is managing others takes me away from that. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah. So I made that conscious decision years ago, and I'm glad I did. It's the right thing for me and my business.
Thank you. And now for all of the coaches, and this is the final question, for the coaches who want to go the other way, and it doesn't necessarily mean scaling in revenue, but just like scaling in impact, making a bigger impact. Is there any advice you'd like to give to these coaches?
Absolutely. Set up your plan, like write your business plan for how you're going to do that. Make it a project plan step by step. I find that a lot of people and career coaches are really good at planning things, and they might even have been project planning people and project management people that have turned coaches. Plan it out, set the goals for yourself, talk to the right people, make connections, and look at your resources and make sure you're making the right choices for you and your business. Not what you think you should be doing, but what you really want to be doing. So remember to really focus on who you are and what you want to accomplish and set it up like a project.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Lisa. Thank you so much, Lisa. Thank you for the great conversation. And for everyone who wants to connect with you or find you, they can go into LinkedIn, look up Lisa Carman. They'll be able to find your profile. I believe they can all...
Lisa Carman -resumes on LinkedIn.
Yeah, Lisa Carman -resumes. So that's how they'll find on the URL as well. The other thing is there's the website, which, if I'm not mistaken, should be resonating-resumes.com.
Yes, that's my website.
We'll put that in the description as well. Is there any other way people could connect with you?
I'm happy to take emails or phone calls. My email is my business name, lisa@resonatingresumesllc.com. And my phone number is 303-947-6242. It'd be wonderful to meet you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Lisa.
Thanks so much, Renjen.
That's it for this episode of Career Coaching Secrets. If you enjoyed this conversation, you can subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you're listening to this episode to catch future episodes. This podcast was brought to you by Purple Circle, where we help career coaches scale their business to $100,000 years, $100,000 months, or even $100,000 weeks, all without burning out and making sure that you're making the impact and having the life that you want. To learn more about our community and how we can help you, visit joinpurplecircle.com.